All right, Kevin McCullough welcoming you to the AFA Today studios inside of New York City, and we're always glad to have you with us every single day here on AFR Talk and, of course, the great radio network of the American Family Association. We've got many things that we could tackle today on this fine day in December. There's many things in the news. The healthcare.gov situation has been relaunched, and I don't know, supposedly people are more satisfied with it than the last time. They claimed they had 1 million visits yesterday, of which I think 2 people got health care. I'm kidding. But we'll wait and see how all that shakes out. But there's a couple of things I want to zero in on today because, I don't know, I feel like the weight of the free world is hanging in the balance if we don't. And I hate feeling that way. And this isn't a story that I'm going to get into that has any huge international significance. There's no country about to invade us. There's no court about to take action or anything. It's just a little thing that's been followed by another little thing, and there'll be another little thing in a few days, and you add up all the little things. You know how far it takes to get a ship off course? Turning the rudder even slightly. So you can be going dead straight in the water, and you turn that rudder even slightly, like less than a perceptible degree, but just enough that it's not on center anymore. And 100 miles later, you're in a completely different place. That's kind of what I feel like our country's in the midst of these days. And yesterday, I was chided by a reasonable person, someone of estimable knowledge. His name is Phil Boyce. He's the talk radio genius behind some people that you might know, named Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and others that he's coached. He was coaching with me yesterday, meaning I was sitting listening to what he had to say to me about being a talk show host. And he said, Kevin, part of the passion of what you do every day is really good. He said the fact that you bring so much feeling to everything that you're talking about. He said, but we've got to offer more solutions. We've got to offer. You can't just have moral outrage all the time. You've got to point people in the direction of solutions. And so I want to work on that. And I want you to hold me accountable, friend, to that. I want you to write me when you feel like we've done a broadcast that's not offered the direction of hope that we should be pointing to. Which in my case, in the instance of this broadcast, it's always about the ultimate solution, which is God-ordained truth, God-given truth that comes only from the Creator of all of mankind. That's the ultimate solution to everything that we're dealing with. But today, it's not a international violation of someone's international rights. Nothing nearly that big. In fact, some people will say, Kev, why are you going to talk about this at all? Well, because I do feel like that there's an eternal lesson, a spiritual truth that needs to be understood in what the thinking is behind the story that I'm about to share with you. Now, we didn't have a chance to get to this yesterday, and I wanted to use it on yesterday's broadcast, but yesterday took on a life of its own, and I think it was for good reason. The president wishing to visit Iran in the coming year is something that Americans should be concerned about. But this has stayed with me. The problem with the story that I'm about to tell you about has stayed with me. It has not let me go. In fact, I woke up at 3:30 this morning thinking about this particular problem. Now, I want to take you to the videotape, and for those of you watching on the AFA channel, you'll be able to see this, hopefully, and those of you that are watching or listening by way of radio, the audio should fill in most of the gaps. But what I want to show you is an ad. It lets you hear this ad that was proposed to run during the Super Bowl this coming year and has been rejected by the NFL. Take a listen to the content of what they had planned to air.
It's been a long road getting here. And a lot has changed since I got back. This is the center of my world. And my family's safety is my highest priority. I am responsible for their protection. And no one has the right to tell me how to defend them. So I've chosen the most effective tool for the job.
Daniel Defense.
All right, so that's all that the ad is. Now, for those of you that weren't able to see it, if you're just listening by way of radio, let me describe it for you. What you have is the scene of a father driving home in his car. It's at the end of a day of work. He's eager to get home. He walks into his home. He's looking around his neighborhood. When he gets out of the car, he looks up the street. He looks in back. He walks in, beautifully manicured lawn, goes into a home, beautiful home. He goes in. He sees his wife cooking in the kitchen. He comes up behind her. He embraces her. He gives a little kiss on the cheek, and then they go upstairs and they go into the nursery, and there's a little, what looks like a beautiful little baby girl sleeping in the crib or just waking up, and so they pick him up and and he hugs the little baby, and the whole time the narrative of what you heard him say is being played out. Now he's talking about how he should protect his home. There's actually a clue to to who he is. And when he comes into the house, you see a framed photo of the same man in a Marine uniform. He's obviously not wearing it anymore. He's obviously coming home from a day of work. But he obviously, when he said when he got back, when he returned, he was meaning he came back from active duty service. Friends, it's an ad for the right to own a gun to protect one's family. The company's name is Daniel Defense, and they had submitted this ad to the NFL and to the Fox network for the right to air it, and they had asked if they could and the Fox network didn't have any problem with it, but for some reason the NFL flagged it as being particularly controversial. Here's how Jazz Shaw at HotAir.com wrote about it. He said recently Daniel Defense, which is I guess is a gun manufacturer, I'm not totally for sure, submitted a commercial to Fox to be played for the 2014 NFL Super Bowl, whatever XLV3 is. What is that, 48 maybe? Something like that. Yeah, let's go for 48. Though the video doesn't showcase one of the company's popular rifles, this advertisement spot was rejected by the NFL. The commercial, which focuses on the themes of personal protection and fundamental rights, was originally created by Daniel Defense to run in any network TV station at any time. According to a statement from Fox to Daniel Defense, unfortunately, we cannot accept your commercial in football Super Bowl spots due to the rules the NFL itself has set into place for your company's category. What they are basically saying is that the idea of a father choosing to buy a gun to protect his family, which is the message of the ad, is controversial, inflammatory, and provocative, too provocative to air in the, quote, family-safe viewing that is supposed to be what the Super Bowl is supposed to be. I use quotation marks around the supposed to part because we have all seen far too much of Janet Jackson at a Super Bowl to ever think that it is going to be totally and completely safe for family. That's why you got to watch the Super Bowl. If you watch it with your kids, you got to watch it with a remote control in your hand because you got to zap that puppy from time to time. But the idea being, it's the single most watched event of the year by the American public. Churches have Super Bowl evenings at their church. Churches that don't even have services in the evenings anymore open up their churches to do evangelistic outreaches during halftime and so forth. The Super Bowl is so ingrained into the American psyche. But this ad is somehow provocative. It is somehow inappropriate for the NFL to say that it can be aired during the Super Bowl. Now, here's my question, and there's a couple of them here. Do you perceive this to have any significance, this issue of this ad being rejected by the NFL? Do you see it as having any significance other than a private entity, the NFL, chose to not do business with another private entity, the gun manufacturer, the Daniel Defense people? Is that all that's represented in this ad being rejected? Or are there other messages attached to this scenario that are actually quite significant? And if there are, what are they? I want to know from your perspective. I have my own opinions about this, but I want to know from your perspective, do you believe that this ad is in some way representative of a larger issue, the rejection of this ad, a representation of a larger issue that is something that we should be concerned about? Related to guns or not related to guns? That part of it is not even terribly significant in my mind. But I think this whole scenario is draped with problems, very problematic for thinking, believing Christian people in America today. And I want to know your reaction to it. 888-589-8840 is the number. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Now, I'll let you, when we come back from the next break, I'll let you hear the ad one more time so that you hear the narrative. But again, as you had it fly past you there that one time, it's a father coming home, and basically his statement is all about how it's his responsibility to see to it that his family is protected. Praise God, we have a man somewhere in America that believes he's responsible for something. Praise God, there's someone that feels that way. Because everything in our culture says, no, you're not responsible for that. In fact, you should really be letting the government take care of that, or you should fill in the blank. I'm starting to tip my hand a little bit too much on this, but I have significant problems with the idea that message is controversial. I have significant problems with the idea that message is harmful or provocative or inflammatory to the American people. I have significant issues with that. But I want to know your thoughts. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. We had all of our lines just filled a second ago, and then half of them dropped. So 888-589-8840 if you're trying to get through, 888-589-8840. Now, this is one of two stories I've written about today over at the Facebook page on afatoday.com. You can see these stories for yourself. You can read about them. But I have some significant concerns, not in the huge, obvious ways that culture and society and government are trying to push us into a godless existence. We talk about those all the time. But while they're pairing the huge, godless ways that they're trying to push us towards a godless existence, in the meantime, you have these little tiny pinpricks that are just wearing us out. Like on our ankles. It's just like someone stabbing us with a needle in our ankle constantly. And eventually, those little things, I think, are as significant as something like Obamacare or Benghazi or any of these other things. I think that it's the little pinpricks, the little doubting of truth that is far more dangerous in the long haul. I'm Kevin McCullough, coming back. AFA Today on AFR Talk. Stay with us.